Calls to end injustice go unheeded. Divine rule and the laws of man discredited. The hall of justice besieged. Help, called for, prayed for, never arrives. Protest signs block my escape from the courthouse. Black Lives Matter, defund police, Antifa, white privilege, reparations, tax the rich, and burn America down. Pushing my way through the horde, I make it down the steps and onto the after-dark streets of Los Angeles. Above, flames flicker in the hills. Smoke and smog muffle the sounds of sirens blaring, horns honking, and people yelling. To avoid inhaling the fumes, my necktie covers my nose and mouth. On this sultry summer night, sweat drips. I seek shelter from the helter-skelter generated by my client's exoneration, and a barstool offers a retreat from a day of media sparring. The bartender sets a basket of chips.
Armani suit, flamboyant tie.
He forms his fingers into the shape of the devil horn hand sign.
Angelo Raguel's trademark.
Before responding, I flaunt my colorful silk necktie and adjust the loop, which affords me a moment of reflection. The media hates these ties.
Congratulations on the acquittal of your client.
Thanks. The TV above the mirror-encased liquor cabinet shows the news, and my interviews dominate the coverage. Gained weight. I say just loud enough for the barkeep to hear. The mixologist answers,
They say being on TV makes you look heavier.
With an upward nod of my head and pursed lips, I ask, have you ever heard of a drink called the Devil's Circus?
A favorite of a female patron.
My client testified he drank one before the incident.
I'll make it for you.
Observing my image in the reflecting glass prompts a quick touch-up. I pat my kinky hair and swab my mustache as thick lips part to check my teeth. My hazel eyes dull with this vain review. I turn and survey this upscale lounge full of lawyer sharks mingling with opportunistic sycophants. My attention focuses on the few other Afro-American attorneys circulating among the white patrons. One of them passes by. He states, Black Lives Matter. Yes. We knuckle bump. The bartender brings the drink. It is an icy cherry-colored margarita with 2 red chili peppers cut and secured to the rim looking like devil horns. I remove the decoration to keep from spilling the full-to-the-brim cocktail and enjoy a sip. It appears nobody notices me on TV. Wrong. A woman approaches, nods up at the screen, and says,
Self-defense. Told everyone.
My legs open to allow the cutie passage. A whiff of skunk weed stimulates my sinus. She flops onto the adjacent seat, signals for refreshment, and projects a flash smile in my direction to communicate she expects I will cover the charge. My grin affirms the bargain.
We're friends,
She says while watching my celebrity client on the tube. An appropriate supportive nod confirms my understanding. She rotates to face me.
Intimate.
I raise my glass. She shakes her bosoms and suggests,
Maybe you and I could be friends?
A slight vibration of my head, a rise of eyebrows, and a lustful stare accompany my lips popping open, maybe. We make eye contact, and I notice her pupils dilate and contract as though the light fluctuates. This triggers a memory of something my mother told me, a sign of demon possession. A powerful sensation of déjà vu prompts a feeling we have looked into each other's eyes in the past. My glance away breaks our visual connection, and a sip distracts me. An obese assistant district attorney approaches and calls out,
Mr. Raguel.
He squeezes between our stools.
You know why God can't find a good lawyer?
My eye roll and glance at him expresses my loss of words. Impatient for an answer, he replies,
Satan's got them all.
The DA laughs at his own joke.
Congrats on getting a cop killer freed.
The vixen's libation arrives, a devil's circus, and the man behind the counter stops to check on me. I say to him, Chica Bonita, referring to the hottie. Looking her over, he crosses himself and says,
Precaution.
Wiping the counter, he adds,
Protege a tu familia.
Mi esposa te de las gracias. Another swallow allows me to deliberate my response to the joke, and I respond, no one wants to defend God's reasons for letting evil roam. The hottie sipping the cocktail purchased by me says,
Blaspheme.
and slips around the DA's bulky frame, her eyes stable. She leans forward, displaying her feminine lures. The fat man smirks.
Angelo would advocate for Satan just to prove God wrong.
Challenge accepted, spoken a bit louder than planned. I intend on standing in front of God and proclaiming Martin Luther King's statement, and justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The hussy exclaims,
Toast.
as the three of us clink glasses. Her smooth skin glistens as she undulates and chants, A licentious urge disgusts me, and a twist removes me from interaction with the couple and allows the glutton to entertain the floozy. No doubt she has slept with everybody here. A large gulp chills my throat and causes a brain freeze. The television shows demonstrators overturning police cars. My view changes from the TV set to the bar scene reflected in the mirror. An old gent at a table raises his glass as if joining our salutation. Odd, the man eluded my attention earlier. The senior gentleman sits alone in a booth, whereas moments before our salute, they all appeared filled. His eyes stare at me, appearing as blue sapphire gems embedded in sandstone-colored skin. He looks in his mid-70s, as opposed to my late 40s. A decanter of blood-red wine airs next to a half-filled glass. His ring, a cushioned ruby matching the hue of the vintage, taps the chalice. His necktie attracts my eye. He unwraps the knit, brandishes the flamboyant cravat lengthwise, and twines it around his neck, and tightens the loop. Fingers, long and thin, groom silver hair. The lapels on his designer suit receive a quick dusting. Challenged by his provocation, my Rolex Submariner timepiece slips out from under my Armani cuff. Acting in competition, the gent spins his oyster perpetual. Strong feelings of jealousy, envy, and coveting develop. Why? Nodding adieu to our rivalry, a turn on the seat brings me back to watching the interviews on TV and ends this contest. My last swallow goes down, and a taste of mezcal tequila lingers. Time to go. The barfly's eyes gleam with desire. A goodbye comment morphs the woman's smile into a frown. Sorry, honey, wife waits at home. Nice thought, though. Leaving a $20 note and an empty glass on the counter ends my commitment. She displays her enticements, Angelo, as she slips the bill into her bra. In the future, temptation proves impossible for me to resist. Thanks. Reaching over, a cupped hand slides the buck under the woman's breast. Keep you in mind. Disgusted, another Jackson gets plucked out of my wallet and handed to the bartender. The passage to the exit becomes obstructed as people extend their hands and shout congratulations. Avoiding the elder in the booth requires an alternate path through the crowd. My blood pressure escalates. My struggle to gain headway causes drinks to spill and curses to fly. Entangled couples block the way. The sophisticated atmosphere deteriorates. An agitated swarm impedes every turn as though in a fire panic with jammed exits. My only escape route takes me by the gent's table, despite efforts to avoid him.
Angelo Raguel.
He slithers out and forces our hands to connect.
Your permission, please, to introduce myself.
His grip hurts. My facial expression freezes to disguise my alarm. He makes eye contact,
Emmanuel Janus.
and does not lighten up the grasp.
I hope to engage your legal services.
What prompts you to seek representation?
Defamation of character.
Who defamed you?
God.
God?
God. Yes.
How did God slander you?
He blamed me for the injustices and evil brought forth.
What do you hope to gain from the outcome?
Impeach him and evoke my rule over heaven and earth.
And where will this proceeding take place?
Heaven.
Heaven. Upon my death?
Whenever.
Whenever. And my role?
Devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate. Concerned about his mental state, my inner thoughts caution me to sound professional and keep from screaming in pain as my bones crunch. You need to call the office, sir. I squeak and yank back to release his clasp. Emmanuel's vice grip tightens,
Watch the trial.
followed by an aggressive pull forward.
An impressive defense.
Stumbling into him brings our faces inches apart. He whispers,
Angelo, old friend.
repressing an unexplainable impulse to embrace him. I pull back as his breath smells of sulfur. I tell myself, stay calm and in control. My words said aloud, sympathetic jury, sound pathetic. A sudden hypoglycemic attack overwhelms me, and perspiration beads and drips.
Yes, seeking the same, sympathy and respect.
He watches me wipe the sweat off. Adding to the noise and confusion, my nose bleeds. I show the old buzzard my bloody fingers. He glowers at me with tiny black pupils and his face blushes. A change in tactics stops my pulling back like a rabbit in the jaws of a wolf. Don't we all? Nauseated from one drink? Hoping to appease him, I say, please, call my office, and the secretary can arrange an appointment. His eyes lock on mine like those of a cobra on a mongoose, paralyzed prey.
Intuition warns.
The old man's pupils dilate and contract in rapid succession.
We should talk.
My mother's warning shouts in my head. Dazed and confused, I stutter. Sorry. Sorry. To break his grip, I yank the harasser's forearm with my other hand. Once free, the hostile throng encroaches on my path, and the temperature rises, everyone sweats, and a smell of rotten eggs circulates. The chant, rings in my head. I hustle to the car. Gusty winds blow through Los Angeles. Southern Californians call these warm winds originating in the vast haunted canyons of Utah's Great Basin the Santa Ana winds, and alternatively, the Devil's Breath, or in Spanish, Diablo Viento. Hot blasts fan fires in the hills and wreak havoc throughout the region. The night sky glows as thick smoke and ash muffle car horns. Sirens wail. People scurry, fearful, seeking shelter. The Phil Collins song, In the Air Tonight, plays in my head as an earwig. The tune comes to an abrupt stop as if someone bumped into a vinyl record player. What the? The old man stands by my car. I hesitate until my sense of fears turns to wrath, and I mutter, how did bad breath get here?
Sorry to startle you. It's my habit, always rushing ahead.
Trying to regain a confident demeanor, I inhale deeply, choke on the smoky air, recover, and respond in a cold, professional tone. Sir, as stated earlier, I will not consider your request other than through my office. Please step away. I try to push past him. He does not budge. Then the obstinate one steps away, fast, so quick I do not see him move. I stumble into my car as adrenaline rushes. I glance back at him as I settle in my auto and see my pursuer standing as if nothing strange occurred. I slam the car door closed, listen to the locks click, and breathe through my nose to calm the pumping of my heart. Safely sealed inside, I start the engine and look at him. The stalker taps his watch without looking at the time. What? I say aloud and view my car's digital dashboard clock. It reads moments before midnight.
The hour grows late.
I perceive his voice, loud and clear, though the window remains closed. His lips sealed, yet I hear him add,
Drive carefully.
He raises a cupped hand to his mouth, mimicking drinking. His voice in my head remarks,
You've had a bit too much to drink.
The SOB flashes a sharp-toothed smile. I conclude our telepathic conversation. Thank you, sir. Now, goodbye. He nods. The secured window apparently does not interfere with our mental communication. Keeping my eye in the rearview mirror as I step on the gas and zip onto the boulevard, I see the idiot wave his hand with his forefinger pointing, like a wizard casting a spell. I hear chanting again, and the smell of brimstone returns. Idiot, I say aloud as my focus changes from the mirror back to the road ahead. Red lights flash in my rearview mirror. What did I do wrong? Driving while black? I pull over. The policeman approaches the car. I roll down my window. Officer, I'm a lawyer. I have a gun and the permit in the glove compartment.
Blue lives matter.
Flash, bam, the bullet shoves me forward, and I grasp the steering wheel. I gasp for breath and focus on the glowing car clock. It's straight up midnight. Unable to move as if experiencing sleep paralysis, I struggle to stay aware but am exhausted beyond any sensation of tiredness. My eyes open wide, but it gets dark, and darker.